The number of Americans identifying themselves as Christian is declining, while other religious affiliations are slightly increasing, according to a recent survey. The Pew Research Center looked at more than 35,000 Americans over the age of 18. More than 70% affiliated themselves with Christianity, a nearly 8% drop from 2007.
All right, the doors to the arena are now open. Ladies first, as always, welcoming the preeminent authority on everything that has to do with four wheels, automotive, the economy, and the politics around the industry. The car coach, Lauren Fix, paired today with the master of marketing, the Sultan of Solutions, president of the M Network Branding and Strategy in Miami, Florida. And yes, he did give me $20 for that. Thomas Mozloom. Just kidding, of course. Welcome, Tom. Welcome, Lauren. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
All right.
Good.
You can already tell the Muslims ready for bear on this one. Let's get into this. Tom, I'm going to start with you on this. Christianity in sharp decline in America, according to the Pew Research Center. They're finding that millennials, and this is what I took out of this, less affiliated with religion as they have aged. And you hear a lot of millennials basically saying, the Catholic Church and all churches don't really speak to me anymore. Why should I be involved?
Why is this a surprise to anybody? If you've looked at who's raising our children over the last, 35, 40 years, it's television, the media, and pop culture. And if you look at the messages that are coming out of those industries, they're the furthest thing from Christianity that you could have. In fact, they're the furthest thing from any religion. So it should be no surprise that we're watching a precipitous decline in people who are religiously affiliated. This isn't a surprise. This is a status quo. This is how this experiment ends.
Well, it's interesting then, because you bring that up. I know that you're a parent, and Lauren, I'm going to ask you in a minute. I know you're a parent as well then. But Tom, have you taken action then as a parent to make sure that your kids don't get that sort of exposure in the
Well, I'm the ultimate prude, right, Ed? I mean, I'm the ultimate prude. My children get 1 hour of screen time a day, whether that be TV.
My God, you are back in the
computer.
60s, young man.
Right. I understand this isn't for everybody, and that screen time has to be vetted first by mom and dad. I mean, as people who are proactive and care about what we flush into our children's brain, we don't want the media to be damaging them. We'll do the damage to them, I tell you.
Lauren, I'll tell you, what Tom says is what I'm hearing from a lot of parents, but I think he brings up a great point. There are many parents out there who still, and this goes back even to the 60s, where parents let television become the babysitter for the kid. It still is, although now it's cell phones and video games.
Well, that's true. And this is something that I think the parents need to be raising the kids and not the school systems raising the kids. And there are a lot of parents like myself where I was very heavily involved, not as much as a helicopter mom, but, it was more difficult for me being the fact that I'm Jewish and my husband's Catholic. But we made sure they were aware of both, where my daughter has decided Christianity and my son has decided Judaism. But the fact is we got them involved in a religion and then made sure that they were aware of it. And I think that's the problem is if the churches aren't helping the families and the families aren't helping the kids, then we're back to letting the schools tell us that they want everyone to fit into the cookie cutter mold, which I don't follow.
And I have to tell you, too, that the speaking to the generations is something that all the religions have to do, and they are, quite frankly, failing at it in so many ways. 2 minutes left. Let's go with one more before we take a break. Parents make a contract with their kids. Here's a contract with America for the left, Lauren. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio is not running for president, but he wants to force, and others do as well, like Elizabeth Warren for Hillary Clinton, to go more left with this contract. Do you trust Bill de Blasio and Elizabeth Warren to come up with a contract, Lauren, that you think America should follow?
It's horrifying. God help us is all I can say. I have a home in New York City, and de Blasio is a train wreck. Ask anyone who voted for him, of which I did not. They are like, wow, we had to pick the worst of two evils, but this guy is really a mess. I don't think he's got a chance of ever getting reelected. He wants to go so far left. He loves communism to the max, and between him and Elizabeth Warren, I am very concerned that if Hillary goes further left, then we just got a better chance she won't get elected.
Tom, to you then about a minute or so, are you as concerned as Lauren is? I mean, that this will push Hillary farther left?
No, this is a marketing ruse to get attention for Elizabeth Warren and Bill de Blasio. This has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton or the presidential election. This is all about trying to kickstart de Blasio's miserable poll numbers right now.
Wait a minute, are you indicating now, all right, the poll numbers are one thing, but are you then now looking forward to 2020 for de Blasio?
No, he's got to finish out his term as mayor without getting stoned, and I think that's what this is about.
Exactly.
I don't know how he could do it, actually, Tom. I mean, really, if you look at it, though, do you think Thom first and then Lauren. 20 seconds left here. That de Blasio has presidential aspirations?
Oh, who knows? I think he'd
No
rather
way.
be czar.
Lauren, I mean, living in New York, you've got to do that. You've got to want to put your head in a vice.
Oh my Lord, I think I might move to Canada. He'd be the worst possible president. The train wreck, he shut down the whole city for a potential snowstorm, including the subway, which had never been shut down in its history. This guy has no clue how to organize or control anything. He just wrecking the NYPD. These police officers put their lives on the line to protect this moron. And
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, he's horrible.
I think we know that right now we're all off Bill de Blasio's Christmas card list. Everybody take a break. We're going to go back on the other side. And when we do, a change in Hawaii. And also, what is it about art that costs millions? Next on MidPoint. Get the arena back to business. Welcome once again the nationally syndicated master of all automotive. She makes the Top Gear guys look like amateurs, Lauren Fix. And the man who makes all of the marketing geniuses appear as if they too are hitting the amateur lines, Thom Mozloom. I did not need any help writing either one of these scripts, and Thom loves each one of them. Lauren, I'm going to start with you first on this one. John Kerry's meeting with Putin in Russia. Don't you trust John Kerry to get the right thing done and bring the Russians in line, Lauren?
Well, I love the fact that he brought him 2 large Idaho potatoes and they gave him 2 potatoes and a tomato. I'm thinking, I think
Wait a minute, but potatoes make vodka, though, Lauren. That's the good thing.
I know, I laughed that we're bringing them potatoes. I'm thinking, don't they have enough? Don't they have enough?
Apparently not. But you do trust John Kerry, though, to get something done. I mean, let's face it here. Putin's been using this country back and forth for so many years, and for so long here at least. Do you trust John Kerry to get anything done?
No, I do not. I think that it took over a year for him to get back over there. We've had quite a few people that have been killed, thousands of people, and what has he done? More than 6,000 people, and we're still having problems with the Ukraine trying to be independent. And I don't think that's going to change with John Kerry making a meeting there, because so far I don't think he's accomplished anything other than giving us access to Cuba, which again, I don't see any value other than we're giving and not receiving.
Thom, when you talk about marketing and PR, is Vladimir Putin maybe a master at all this, the way he has used the United States here in the last year?
Well, Vladimir Putin is a master at politics and marketing in his own home country. When things like this happen, nobody looks better than Vladimir Putin. Right? He takes over the Crimea, he sticks it to Ukraine, he funds the rebels, he is behind Iraq, and we come there with potatoes.
I know, I can't believe
Okay.
it.
Who looks better right now?
I
than
got to leave it there because there's too many vodka jokes that we could just do back and forth. But I think that really says it all. John Kerry goes with potatoes from Idaho. We leave it right there. All right, a couple of things here. Hawaii is set to become the first state to raise the smoking age to 21. Thom, I don't know about you. I'll be very honest. I'm a vehement anti-smoker here. I'm just one of those people. I know good. But I think this is a grand idea.
Listen, I think that the tobacco industry has done an immense amount of harm in this country through spiking their products and making it highly addictive and targeting all of their marketing specifically to teenagers. The average age of somebody starting smoking in this country is 13. They're called replacement smokers because regular smokers die off. So anything we can do to dissuade young people from smoking, in my mind, is a good thing.
No, Lauren, look at it this way. If you want to be an adult, if you're 21, you want to do it, fine. That's what your right is. But these kids, 13, 14, 15 years old, let's face it, Thom is right. The tobacco companies are in there, and they use them, and they want them, and they know they'll get them. They know they'll hook them young.
Absolutely. And now I am also a vehement anti-smoker. I've never tried a cigarette. I do have friends that have smoked, and it is very difficult to quit. But teenagers, especially between 15 and 17 years old, are the most vulnerable to this addiction. And it's not that you can't deny them. The fact is that the parents need to educate them as well. And again, you can't rely on the schools, because there was a time where smoking was no longer the in thing. And then kids moved to marijuana, and now they're back to cigarettes and marijuana.
But do you think it's really going to do a big... Do you really think it's going to make a change, though, just because you make the law 21, Lauren, if it's really going to stop people from smoking and stop kids from doing it? Hell, kids were getting cigarettes when they were 12, 13 years old when I was a kid.
It'll stop a bulk of the stores selling it, which will impact the economy in Hawaii. But as far as education, I think, again, that needs to come at home. My kids don't smoke. We don't smoke. My father died of cancer. That was enough to make them realize that cigarettes were a bad move. So, I mean, as far as like drinking, don't tell me that kids that aren't in middle school don't have access to liquor. Their parents have it, they smoke cigarettes, they drink, they have access to this stuff. So again, it has to come down with education and setting a good example.
All right.
And I'm not a fan of vaping either because it's just as addictive. And guess what they're smoking? It is antifreeze. That's exactly what's in it. It's ethylene glycol. So again, that's another.
We should do a story on that one day because you're exactly right. 60 seconds left. The Picasso Women of Algiers, $160 million at Christie's in New York. Lauren, I know that you have this money available to you and you have it on your credit card at this moment. Would you spend $160 million for a painting?
No, I wouldn't. I would buy a lot of really awesome cars is what I would do.
How about you, Thom?
Okay, no offense, Lauren, but the painting is a significantly better investment than the cars, and that's why people are spending this kind of money. This is a way to hide money.
Well, wait a minute, Lauren. Thom brings up a great point here. It's a good way to hide money.
Yes, it is a good way to hide money, but still, if you buy a historically significant Ferrari, you can definitely get your money back. Just look at some of the stuff that's going up for auctions at RM, at Barrett Jackson, depending upon what you buy. Today, if you bought a 65 Shelby, you'd be paying $450,000. Will the market continue to grow? Absolutely.
Take that, Mozloom. Take that, you anti-car guy.
I'm the owner of a classic car. I'm into it. However, if I was going to spend my money on an investment, something that could be liquid quick, art is a great place to hide the money. And it's a great place to get huge tax breaks, too.
I got to tell you, it's that picture I have at home, hand-painted, signed by Stan Lee. That's a big one to me. Lauren Fix at laurenfix.com. Thom Mozloom, M-Network in Miami. Thanks a lot, both of you. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, coming up next, a meme of Brady and more.